welcome to AI Late to Class. This episode is going to be about long length video using open source free Wan 2.2, generating 5 seconds of footage or 81 frame chunks with a fixed seed so that you can go forward 81 frames at a time, and if you like a section you can continue. If you don't like it, you can go back and re-edit it because you're keeping the seed the same, so it's a fixed seed, so it doesn't change your original footage that you've done. As you're going forward at 81 frame chunks, you're purging the VRAM, so if you copy the sections through, you could continue forever. I've also got fast motion and slow motion, so you could take your pick at the end result whether you wanted to have a fast motion scene or slow motion scene. This is an altered workflow from AI Entrepreneur. It doesn't have a sliding window where you have some of the last frames and that goes on to the next video. That generally produces a bit of a color change. This is just taking the last frame and going forward with it, which generally degrades in footage, but for some reason this one doesn't. The only difference in this is if your prompt is a little bit abstract, you'll have a movement glitch generally on the character, not on the background. So you just got to make sure on your prompt on each section. If you keep your prompt the same, it will have a nice flow motion, seamless, where you can go right through. If you change it, you've just got to be aware of your changes. And that's the thing about this workflow, is because it's editable, if you change your prompt on the section and it goes forward and you don't like what it did, you can just go that 1 5-second chunk back and continue forward. Those users that don't have ComfyUI and still want to do long length video, I'll go through Framepack and travel prompt within that, and I'll go through Wan2GP using vase diffusion forcing method. So there's something for everyone here to make long length videos for free. If you've dragged the ComfyUI workflow in, it looks a bit of a mess, but it's actually just a normal Wan 2.2 workflow with some alterations. So you don't have to download any new models. If you know how to use ComfyUI and Wan 2.2, this is going to be quite simple. If you haven't done that, go and watch my other tutorial on installing Wan 2.2. But anyway, here's your high noise, low noise models. Then there's the text encoder, VAE. There's your fast LoRa's. Here's your text prompt here, and in this case it's an evil man with glowing hands, walks 2 steps towards the camera while taking off his hood, and the camera pulls back. There's nothing in the negative prompt. You could do that if you want, but I didn't do anything. I've made the sizing for this 640 by 640 with the 81 frames length. Now this is the important bit. I've got fixed seed there, right? So I'm not going to alter this one here to start off because we've just got this man with his glowing hands, and I'm going to keep that seed the same. I'm quite happy with the way he takes his hood off. Now this is the important bit. It comes through here, cleans the RAM, so it's almost like we're going back to a no VRAM usage, so it can all start again. So this is what I've got from that first prompt. Reasonably happy with that. I mean, there's a few things I could alter, but for now, just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to keep this one the same. So that's actually outputted at 24 frames. That doesn't matter because it just goes through, and remembering that 24 frames is actually less than 5 seconds with your 81 frames. But it doesn't matter because it comes through over here and it goes into the next section, which is just the same. Now, when he came through on here, I didn't like the way he put up his hands. It sort of just goes up, comes down, and has this sort of jolt look to him. See? And now everything else in the scene, like that guy walking in the background, is kind of cool. Everything else looks good, but just I'm not too happy with him. So to fix that up, go down to the seed number, and we're going to change that seed there, that one there, push it forward one. We still keep it as fixed, and we go down here, and where I've got these switches over here, we're going to break these pieces off, just leave them out here. We're going to attach them again, and once we've done that, we press run. So here's our output now. Here's our actual clip. This is just a 5-second chunk come out, and in this case the hands have come up a little bit differently, and the eyes, is a little bit of a glow on the eyes, which is kind of cool. So When that comes through out of here, we have down the bottom, there's our faster clip, which is our 24 frame clip. That's adding in the bit from the start as well as the new clip. So there's 10-second clip. And if you notice, the jolt isn't as much. It's still a bit of a weird jolt, and you could probably work with it a bit more, change the prompt a bit just to get it not as noticeable. But it's still better than what I had originally. So the first clip is still exactly the same. It's just a second chunk of 5 seconds that's changed. But there's no color changes, and there's no weird jolting, ghosting that we get with other products. So this is really cool. If we go up at the top here, you'll see this is going through Rife, interpolating it and getting a nice slow motion version of the first 2 chunks. So the first 5 seconds and the second 5 seconds in slow motion. So from there, we're going to now go into the next chunk over here. And I might just want to change this prompt just to show the difference here. So lightning bolts go between the hands. I'm going to change that to red glow of bolts go between the hands, and see what happens with that. And when I come down here, I'm just going to change those seeds just to make sure it's not something from the past. It doesn't really matter what number I move them on, just not that they weren't ones from before. And we come over here to our switches, and we're going to break these ones off on the top, on the true bit, break that off and break that off. So that'll go through to there, and then we're going to click these ones back up. So I'm going to come back here, click that up there, click that there, and then we press run. This is coming out really good. This has got some glowing red hands. That's the frame by itself, where it's gone from blue to red, so it's transitioned. It hasn't done like a jolt to it. And I probably wanted a LoRa or something so that I could get lightning bolts. There is some LoRas for that sort of stuff on Civet AI for Wan 2.2. You'd put the LoRa in at the start, but you'd put the trigger word in on that section. So if we look at the whole clip together at 24 frames, here he comes walking. Notice that the walking just flows right through. The only sort of weirdness is that arms there coming up. But the difference between these 2 frames, you can't tell. There's no color change, there's no glitch, no ghosting. It just works really well coming into the red bit there. And so we come back up to the top and have a look at our slow motion version of that. I prefer the slow motion part there. Looks really good. And now what we'll do is we'll come over here. We'll connect those back up first. Connect that back up to there, and then up to here, and then we'll go across and break the other ones off. And I probably want to change my prompt. So I've changed the prompt on this one to the hands start burning. And this is the outcome. His hands have started burning. Just to note, I'm using one of the smallest GGUF models, so I could have a bigger one and have way higher quality video footage, but this is doing pretty good for what it is. And there's our full clip so far. So we'll go up and look at the slow motion of the full clip so far, up the top there. And that looks really good. I'm just going to change it so that on my last one, I'm just going to prompt puts the hands on his head. I've just put man puts his burning hands on his head, so his head then starts burning. So we're going to go down, click these bits back up. I'm just going to go over here and push the seed forward just to make sure it's not a seed from before. And this is my final output where he's burning his head. But let's look at the whole thing right from the start. So it's generating the city as he's walking forward, which is cool. The legs are walking. everything's looking okay. If we wanted to fix up like where their arms were a bit, the problem with that, once we've gone forward, if we go right back near that was, it'll generate all the frames forward. So we have to make sure that we check each section before going forward, and that way we can't make any mistakes as such. So coming out of that, and we want to continue this section on, because that was my last section that I did. See where I put these two joiners in here, the switch image and that. So try and imagine copying from there on all of those 3 nodes there, and this whole nodes over here, and this one as well, and then connecting them up to this one here. So it just follows through and so forth. You can keep going with that forever because it keeps purging the RAM. So this is a really good workflow. Yeah, so I hope you have fun with that one. I'm going to move on to the Framepack and the Wan2GP just to see what else can be done as far as long length videos go. If you want to use something else for infinite video, there's Framepack. What I'm using here is Framepack Studio, which is a front end for the normal Framepack. And the difference between the original Framepack and this one is this lets you do travel prompting. Right down here, you've got 1 second, the man is walking down the street as the camera pulls back and tracks in front of him. Then at 3 seconds, his hands start glowing blue. 7 seconds, he lifts his hands up, etc. Right? It hasn't quite done that really, but it's done some of it. As you can see, it just sort of didn't track in front of him. I'd probably have to change my prompt. Might just enlarge this here. And you can see there's a couple grid lines that this does. It's not the quality of Wan 2.2, but it still might be okay for some things. This is part of the Hunyang models, and they haven't really done any changes or updates to it. I'm hoping they do, because this was quite good for the time that it came out. It's not difficult at all. If you just go down here, I've got the steps at 20. That's another thing. You have to rely on Tcache to sort of speed it up. So you can't use those 4 steps like you can do with Wan 2.2 or the Wan2GP. Video length, right here, you've just got seconds, so that's easy. Drag it out, and there's your sizing. If you've got things that you want to save from before, you can just drop the file in as the metadata. And that's pretty much it. Just add to queue, and you can see it as it's generating, and it will purge the RAM and then continue and going on and on. So good product. In here on the Framepack Studio, I am using the F1 model. The original model is also there, so this is sort of the benefits. On the newer version of Framepack Studio, you do have first frame, last frame. So do you with the original Framepack as well. Installing Framepack, there's multiple ways of doing this. This is the original Framepack website. You can have a look through here, read the information, look at the requirements as far as your graphics card goes. You can go Pinocchio and install that through there if you have that installed, or you've got this one-click package. Do that and go through that process, because it's a 30 gig download, the models, and that'll lead you through there. Just remember, this doesn't have the treble prompt in it, so you're probably best going to the Framepack Studio, which is over here. Installing this, you need to either git clone this or download a zip, put it in its own folder. You need to come to this guide. If you've got Pinocchio, this is probably your best way of doing it. Click on this link here and go through that process. Other than that, you're going to have to look at what graphics card you've got, look at your CUDA version and your Torch CUDA version, and then you're going to have to come down here and follow these instructions. Install through Conda or Anaconda is probably best, because you're going to make sure that you have this here, right? CUDA version is written on the end of what you're doing, right? As you can see over here, CU128, that means 12.8. Have a look if yours is 12.4 or 12.6, whatever it is, you have it on the end of this in your requirements. And once you've got that installed, follow the process there, like as in this case, you've got your local host to start it up in your web interface. I did get some ghosting around the time where it does its sliding window. In this case, it's probably around 7 seconds, so you'll see in here. And this seems like it does it with cartoons more than real footage right there. Onto Wan2GP. I don't want to go through these install instructions because I've got another video that's all about that, but I will show that there has been an update here on September the 5th, and this is quite important if you want to do infinite video, because you've got end frames can now be combined with continuous video feature. So this is really good. When you have your start frame, end frame, you can now do this on continuous video, and that's going to get you a lot more closer to what you need, when, especially when doing a sliding window, so it won't have that so much in the color change and things like that as it has done with Wan2GP. So I recommend using this update. Just git pull in the folder and that will update it for you if you already have it installed. In Wan2GP, I've chosen Wan 2.1 up here, and I'm using the Vase Self-Forcing 14B model. I did try the Sky Reels diffusion forcing model. It didn't come out too good, so I won't recommend it. Over here, I've got text to video, new video. You can do the continue video if you've already made a video, and do as I just mentioned before with the end frames, the new feature update. Down here, I'm not using a control video. If you've got pose and you want to pose your character, that's what you do. I am selecting at the top here, inject only people objects. Make sure of these things, because sometimes by default it's selected on other items in this product. I've uploaded my image there, and this is another one. Keep backgrounds behind people. By default it's remove backgrounds, so we don't want that. In our prompt here, each new line is where it starts its changes, right? So this is sort of like your travel prompt, but it's done at every sliding window. So when the new sliding window starts, it will then do the next line. It's just when you press enter on the keyboard in here, it's going to do that. And you can see what I've done. It's copied the same sort of prompts that I had in each of the prompt windows in the Wan 2.2. And down here just chose 480p, and this time I chose 512 by 512. This here is 421 or 25 seconds. Basically it's 16 frames per second, and each 129 frames, that's when the sliding window happens, and you can adjust that in the settings over here on the sliding window, but I'm just leaving it at the default. It's got 4 steps on this, and you can put in LoRa's here. I've got none on them. I've got steps skipped, got Tcache on there around ×2 speed up. Make sure I didn't do it on this time around, but you got to put that up to about 10 as it mentions there just before it kicks in. There's not really a lot of other things that you need to change. All of these defaults are quite good, and when you come over here, it hasn't really produced the greatest product on this one. As you can see, he's sort of not walking properly, and he's coming up. There's not I'm not noticing too much of a change between those sliding windows. It's a slight color thing, but it's not something that's too noticeable. But however, it didn't follow those prompts on each line. It didn't do the flaming hands or put his hands on his head, so it's not good for what I wanted it for, and hoping the new vase will do improvements on that. Had to go with this cat, and it does do a bit of a color shift in the middle here, and it also, the movement sort of goes a bit weird of the cat too, like the other one. Tried the cat again. This time I'd already made my video in Wan 2.2 for 5 seconds, then continued a video using this Vase DF, and that actually came out with a really good effect. Lastly, I've got this long length Wan 2.1 workflow. I'm using the context options node here, so it renews after it hits 81 and it goes on to the next 81. But in this footage you can see a clear difference. This is a good example because those flowers and the background trees, when it changes you can see the change. It might not be so noticeable if you use it in a different scenario, like in front of a brick wall or something like that, but this is obviously a case that you wouldn't use it. Anyway, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.